Hi Year 2, welcome to your guided reading lesson for today. So today's focus is the S in Vipers, which stands for sequencing. Okay, so when we talk about sequencing, we talk about ordering the story from the beginning to the end of the story, so in chronological order. Who can remember that word? Think back to when we learnt about comics. Okay, so the story today is called Boris Starts School, and your task will be to sequence the story. So you need to pick out the main events of the story and retell it, sequencing it in the correct order. That's the main thing, is it needs to be in the correct order. So listen carefully, Year 2. The day that Miss Chuck said there was going to be a new animal in the class, everyone was very excited. When Miss Cluck said that the new animal was a bear, the other animals squealed with delight. Letitia the rabbit wondered if it may be a fluffy pink bear, like the one on her lunchbox. Maxwell the mole wanted a floppy brown bear with velvet paws. The mice hoped for a bear in Wellingtons and a duffel coat. Fergus the fox cub thought any teddy bear would be just fine. So when the classroom door opened and Miss Cluck introduced Boris, everyone screamed. For Boris wasn't a teddy bear. He was an enormous, hairy, scary, grizzly bear. Miss Cluck found Boris a seat next to Maxwell. Boris wanted to say hello in his politest voice, but as he sat down, there was a loud crack. It made Maxwell hide his face in his paws. Hiding his face. "Oh, Boris," said Miss Cluck, "we'd better find you a bigger chair." Miss Cluck gave Boris a new book and a pencil. He was very proud indeed. With a big friendly grin, Boris turned to show the mice. But Boris forgot how fierce his teeth were. He forgot how big his paws were, and he forgot how sharp his claws were. Somehow the mice got scattered across the classroom. Somehow the pages of his new book got ripped. Somehow there was panic everywhere. "Boris is too big," cried one little mouse. "Boris is too hairy," yelled another. "Boris is too scary," they all squeaked together. "Oh, Boris," said Miss Cluck, "please try to be more careful." At lunchtime, everyone sat together. There was not enough room on the bench for Boris, but nobody moved up. So he sat all by himself and dipped his big paw into the large jar of honey his mummy had packed for him. When lunch was over, Miss Cluck said everyone could go off and play. The mice began a game of hide and seek. Everyone ran to find a place to hide, but Boris was too big. So Boris shut his eyes and counted instead. 1, 2, 3. "Coming to get you," Boris boomed. Letitia shook with fear and clung to Fergus. Maxwell ran, crying to Miss Cluck. "Let's go inside and play some quiet games," said Miss Cluck. "And Boris, please try to be less scary, dear." Poor Boris. The animals sat together in a circle. There was no space for Boris. Boris had nobody to play with and nobody to talk to. Tears filled his big brown eyes, and large teardrops rolled down his long nose and splashed onto the floor. "I'm a scary bear," he sniffed. "I'm a hairy bear," he sobbed. "I'm just a great big grizzly bear." It seemed like a very long afternoon. At last it was time to go home. Miss Cluck stood and waved as the animals set off through the woods. Letitia hopped along the bank. Fergus chased the little mice round the tree. Maxwell scampered through the leaves. Boris plodded along, far behind. Suddenly, from a hollow tree leapt the Rat Pack. Well, well, if it isn't the Boo Babies, said the meanest rat. Just look at the scaredy fox and the weedy chicken-licking mice. Oh, Letitia, Maxwell, Fergus and the mice trembled while the rat pack circled round them. The rats didn't see Boris plodding along the path. All Boris could see was lots of excitement ahead. He wanted to join in the fun. Huffing and puffing, Boris stood up tall to greet the new friends with his biggest, widest bear grin. And, yikes! It's a hairy bear! Help! It's a scary bear! Quick, run! It's a hairy, scary, grizzly bear! The rotten rats ran away as fast as their skinny legs could carry them. But I only wanted to say hello, called Boris. When Boris turned around, the other animals cheered. Boris is a hairy bear, they sang. Boris is a scary bear, they chanted. Boris, we're so glad that you're our grizzly bear. Suddenly, Boris felt very shy. If you're going to be a bear, he said very gently, then it's probably best to be a hairy, scary, grizzly bear. The next day at school, the animals couldn't wait to tell Miss Cluck how Boris had saved them from the nasty rat pack. Oh, Boris, said Miss Cluck, what a good bear you are. At story time, everyone rushed together around Miss Cluck. There wasn't much room once Boris had sat down, but the rest of the class didn't mind one little bit. They all had a soft, warm place to sit after all. Okay, so that's about Boris the Bear starting school. I would like you to, in your home learning books, retell the story. But the most important part is that it needs to be sequenced correctly. So it doesn't need lots and lots of detail. It's about the sequence. What happens at the beginning? What happens next? What happens after that? What happens at the end? What are the main events of the story? And you need to sequence them correctly. Okay, good luck here too. Remember, you can re-watch the video as many times as you like to get a good idea of the story before you start your work. Okay, goodbye.